Medallions of mahi mahi. That always struck me as whenever you see the word medallions of on one of these South Beach restaurant menus, that's it. Don't order that, man. Get a hot dog. Get yourself out of there because you're going to be. It's worse than the old syndrome that used to be the cliche about Chinese restaurants, where you stuff yourself and then a half hour later you're hungry again. Medallions of mahi mahi. I was a place last time I think I actually ate. This is centuries ago already on the South Beach at the South Beach restaurant. Was a place called a fish called Avalon, and I had the medallions of mahi mahi, and you literally needed an electron microscope to see the food that was the main course. The parsley was bigger than the medallions of mahi mahi. Medallions is another name on a restaurant menu for small.
Yes.
Or minuscule. They may as well just be minuscule pieces of fish. That would be the way to describe the dish. But medallions of mahi mahi. Wow, I mean the elegance. The way the chef prepares. Anybody could prepare like a morsel of fish. It's hard to blow that. The piece is so small. I mean, unbelievable.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
I could see Mayo starting a column with that, even though the menu item seemed a bit pretentious. Right? As if food could be pretentious. We decided on the medallions of mahi mahi, and I would have to say, in spite of the rather small size of these medallions, whose medallions were they? Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, that is another name for a ripoff, right? I guess you're getting creamed if you're at any South Beach restaurant here in South Florida. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good to be with you on a fabulous Thursday. We're going to have the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge today, so you challenge players get geared up. And let me see if I can remember the number, 954-417-0070, right?
Yes.
Is that right? 417-0070?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got it, man. See?
You. Good job.
I had a number in my head from the old radio job, 866-801-0940 for some reason the other day. Because I was thinking about how, talk radio in general used to be so dependent on calls. And that was really the nature of the game. And then I would say it was sort of, I guess, even prior to when we started working together, that the whole idea of having callers be participants on sports talk shows became a very negative idea and concept. And station managers were at the point where they didn't even want to bother having another voice come on the air and call in and go, you know what, I think the Bills suck. I'll hang up and listen. They didn't want to hear that anymore. And I don't know if that was a byproduct or as a byproduct of that people just stopped calling because there was very little desire to put these people on the air. We always wanted to do that, but I did notice over the years, Lubie, that the number of people who called in the radio stations and radio sports talk shows had diminished considerably to the point where it was kind of a non-existent entity, wasn't it, after a while? I mean, most shows you would never hear an audience caller be a part of. You might have a guest come on, that would be about it. But it essentially boiled down to they just wanted three guys to yak back and forth, crack jokes that weren't particularly funny, and then laugh hysterically, even though there was nothing funny being said. Which we've been guilty of, I guess. But, we try to avoid that, try to just be genuine here. But I always enjoyed taking calls. I thought it was a big part of what we were doing for many, many years. And, we struggled, right? I used to give that number out 1,000 times during the course of the show. Because for me, giving out the phone number during the course of these free-form spiels that I do, what was kind of like a comma in the sentence, right? You come to a point where you would express a couple of ideas, and then you would throw out the number and hope that somebody latched onto something. And for many, many years, we were just looking at the board and wondering if the phones were working, right? And then I realized, well, what's the point? Why force it, right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's just not worth it. But here, we absolutely depend during the Trivia Challenge on your participation. So dial us up, 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. Dave Gurggles. Gergely going to join us. We'll get that underway about 7:30 and try and do that for an hour or so. The Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Always a lot of fun. And we will contest the competition for a Landlubber's gift certificate where Lubie will be tonight, right? Is tonight your night? Thursday?
Tonight is the night. Back in action at Landlubbers at 6:30. So come check us out.
You know what? I might just do that because, believe it or not, you'll find this a little bit far-fetched, but I will be attending my first hockey game in years
Really?
as the Panthers take on the Red Wings tonight. I got the invite from the great Brett Tester, the agent of the
Nice.
Stars, who has magnificent seats for these games. So, and I enjoy hockey. I think it's a tremendous spectator sport. I know people are going to immediately be startled and say, "Yeah, well, what's about all that stuff, that junk you're talking about soccer? Hockey's no different."
Yes,
It's
it is.
completely different. It's not. It's night and day. One is an extremely fast-paced game with a ton of physicality, and the guys are tough as nails. And the other is an extremely slow-paced game, for my money, where there's much inaction. And, it seems like the object of the game is to kill time. It just does. I don't know
Yes.
why, but it seems like, I mean, whenever you see a team just happy to be going backwards, you're either looking at many editions of the New York Jets, or you're watching a soccer game, right? Where you advance the ball about to the midfield stripe and then you start working it back to the goalie. There you go. Our guys got it. And then, do they count that as stoppage time when the goalie has the ball on the ground and nobody's around
Oh.
him, and it takes him like 10 minutes to decide which way he's going to go? And then after all of that time, he rolls it about 3 feet to the guy who's on his right.
Wait, my favorite is the all-out celebration that the entire bench leaves, the
Yeah.
coach leaves. They do it in the corner for like 5 minutes. I don't think that goes into the stoppage time either.
No,
Like, which is weird. It'll last like 3 minutes sometimes. I'm like,
they're
what is going on?
high-fiving all these guys with court jester hats on in the stands, faces painted. Now everybody's got, what is that called, man, when they have the thing, the schmut on their head?
Oh, I don't know.
What is
That's
that?
funny. That's true.
Yeah, what is that called? It's called something. We should know after watching all these games from Qatar. Fantastic. I have to say this, and I hate to admit this because I don't know, Sarni will get all over me on this one, but I actually turned on the TV yesterday thinking, hey, where's the World Cup game?
Exactly.
Now, did I only tune in so I'd have something to poke fun at on the show
Yes.
this morning? You think?
Yes. You think you can have material.
It does give you a ton of material. I mean, we can't just depend on Donnie Trump, which, by the way, was he wallpaper in his house with classified documents? What was going on with that? They found a few more in a box in some schmanky storage place, like behind a U-Haul place. All of a sudden, here's top secret classified documents. Oh, yeah, I didn't know about those. Now, all of a sudden, he's become very forthright, Donald Trump, and he has his lawyers digging through all kinds of trash bins and other things. I mean, they're in the makeup case there of Ivanka, whatever. They're finding documents everywhere. They're just popping up all over the place. Was there anything left to secret or secrecy?
Exactly.
Just an open book, man. Whatever the hell we're doing defensively
Secret.
here in this country.
I
It's
mean,
got
something-
double top secret probation on it. Where's Dean Wormer? That was another revelation yesterday that, this guy's got classified documents in a storage unit somewhere in Loxahatchee. Nice. Way to go, Donnie. Way to protect the government and all of our principles and safeties and the sanctimonium of being a U.S. citizen. Wow, getting an early call here
Didn't
from
tell
Big
you this
Jack.
early.
Big
Oh,
Jack.
Big Jack. Oh, Big Jack.
I got big projects here. I don't think he realizes that we actually work. I got to tell him to tune this stuff in, see if he really wants to, have us be a part of whatever it is that he's doing. I see Andy's on the chat line, and is it true, really? Andy's going to be conducting some seminars? Is he becoming the new Tom Vu? Do we
We're
know?
talking about some stuff.
Okay, all right.
It is funny.
I could see Andy getting up there with like, sort of an Asian look and saying, "You come to my seminar, I make you a millionaire."
He and I talking about some stuff, and
Oh,
the
good.
first thing that came to my mind was, I was like, I don't know if I tell Defo about this.
Well, I'm sure Andy's a very credible guy, man. I mean, he knows what he's doing in
It's
the
just funny.
financial world.
It made me think of Tom Vu.
First thing I thought of was Vu when you mentioned seminars to me this morning.
And he's such a bullshitter that he'll be serious and they won't believe him.
Hey, there'll be a picture of Andy going down the intercoastal there on some guy's yacht that he rented for the hour.
Exactly.
No
Start
doubt
out
at great
as-
expense with money that was not his own. And he'll have two babes there and say, I come to this country, I have nothing. Now I'm a millionaire.
Start out as a billionaire. I'll make you a millionaire.
The great thing about the Tom Vu story, which was fantastic, because, I mean, he was on at a time where a lot of these real estate guys were telling you that you could buy property with other people's money. I couldn't even buy this property with my own money. Even that was made difficult. So I don't know how you do it without having any cash whatsoever. Your credit is shit. And all of a sudden you're going to be buying like 5 or 6 different properties. I don't know. Did Donnie do that? Is that how Trump got rich? Other people's money? I'm not sure.
Yes, his father's.
Oh well, his father's. That's all. At least it was in the family, and then that money actually existed. It wasn't like one of these fairy tales. Like what were there? There was Dave Delgado. He was the guy in a Hawaiian shirt. He was making people rich. And Tom Vu, was the guy that everybody remembered because he was, sort of an oddball, and he spoke with an accent, and it seemed really incongruous that this guy would have come to this country as a busboy, and all of a sudden he's riding a yacht down the intercoastal and blowing by Wayne Huizinga's house and saying, "What a dump! Hey Wayne, you want to sell?" Incredible. But he ended up becoming a prominent poker player. That's the weird thing about that story. Because the next time he surfaced after disappearing for a long period of time, and you assume the guy was doing time for all of this fraudulent stuff that he was perpetrating on TV. And the other guy, whatever happened to Matthew Lesko? Nothing? Did
The
he ever
question
do
mark
anything?
guy? Yeah, I don't know.
He was great. Right? I could get you $200,000 to open up a coffee shop in Nebraska. Great.
Like, what's your name? The Yankees?
I love scams. I can't believe William Devane is now hawking those bogus HMOs that you get if you're on Medicare, where you think you're getting money back, but you're really sacrificing all of the benefits of being on Medicare and getting scammed out of your money. And William Devane, a prominent actor, I mentioned this yesterday on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, and
So you thought Willem
Mayo
Dafoe.
didn't even know what we were talking about.
It's like Willem Dafoe. Like, not
Defoe?
Willem Dafoe.
No, I think he's long gone, Defoe. A lot of
No,
people
he's
would say that about this Defo too. That's for sure. Anyway, good to be with you here, and many things happening. We're on the precipice here of another week of the NFL, and of course, it starts again tonight. We have a game to examine here. What's your feeling about this one? Raiders and the Rams. The
Oh, geez.
Rams have signed Baker Mayfield. He will be suiting up for tonight's game. I can't imagine. Would he not be a more viable alternative? What's the guy's name? Pritchard or something? They had a quarterback that hadn't played before that ended up playing a substantial amount of time last week for the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, geez.
Sean McVay, I mean, this is one of the great mysteries of the NFL this year. How could the Rams possibly be this bad? It doesn't seem feasible, does it?
Wolford? John Wolford?
Wolford they have? No.
Wolford, a guy, John Wolford, played the entire game last week. John Wolford.
Yeah. All right, maybe I got this wrong, but all right. So would you not assume that there was a shot that you would see Baker Mayfield in there? I mean, at least the guy's got pro experience and had accomplished some things. There were a couple of years ago, you thought Baker Mayfield was going to actually be pretty good. Did you not?
Oh, the week before they had Bryce Perkins,
Perkins,
and Riley Dixon, who was, I guess, the punter, and he
imagine this.
made a throw.
I mean, holy Vince Ferragamo, what has happened here? I was there when the big debate was whether to play James Harris or Pat Hayden. And Harris was a strapping 6'5". I mean, a guy that could throw the ball a mile down the field. We've had this discussion with John Feinstein when he wrote the book about racism and sports, in sports. And, he had a significant interview he had talked about with us on the shows with James Harris, who clearly, I mean, it seemed like he was getting jobbed. I don't know if it was because the perception was that black quarterbacks didn't have, as Al Campanis put it to Ted Koppel, the mental capacities to be leaders in various sports, which obviously was not a favorable position for Campanis to take because he disappeared from the scene right after that, and I think died shortly with a broken heart, shortly thereafter, unfortunately, because I believe he just got stuck on the Koppel show, and he was an older guy. He'd been around forever, and I think he just couldn't work his way out of it. Koppel gave him every opportunity to backtrack on that statement, that he didn't think that black people were smart enough to play quarterback and or hold positions of prominence in Major League Baseball. And you were thinking, I don't know about that, Al. Even when that took place, and that had to be what? How many years ago, Lubie? This might have been before you were born, huh?
I mean, yeah.
That Ted Koppel interview with Al Campanis. I happened to be watching it. I was a big fan of Nightline at the time, and a big Ted Koppel fan. And he stopped a couple of times and said, "Al, do you really mean to say that?" And then he just kept getting into more and more complications with it as he's talked about how black people are not buoyant which I don't know where he really started grasping at straws there. And as we, deduced, the thing that really ruined him was seeing Joe Frazier trying to swim in the Superstars
It
competition
was
when
97, so I was definitely alive. I didn't realize it was that late. I feel like it
97. It was that recent. That's
was
incredible because holy Jackie Robinson. Oh, what are
87.
we
It was
talking about here?
1987.
87. Okay.
1987. That sounds about more right.
Well, I mean, you're talking 35 years ago at this point. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but it still sticks in my mind. I just remember watching this guy, and he's on the spot, and he made a statement that you thought, wow, that's weird. Koppel, to his credit, actually followed up and didn't just let it go like Pete Gammons did.
Yeah,
Great journalist, Pete Gammons, talking to A-Rod. A-Rod, are you willing to admit right now that you've used illegal substances? No, I've never used illegal substances. Okay, what about the chances of, a five-man rotation this year? Huh? What are you talking about? Pete.
Oh, my God.
My God. So many people just slough over that stuff. Katie Couric, I don't know. Did she try to nail A-Rod? No, she didn't do anything with A-Rod.
Nah.
A-Rod's sitting there on 60 Minutes. He says, no, I never did any steroids. He's got a needle in his arm.
Yeah, exactly.
Victor Conti is in the background there going, don't tell him anything, Juice.
They call him Juice.
Yeah.
That's his nickname.
His nickname. The steroid world.
Oh, my God.
I like that Eddie K, our good friend Eddie Kaplan, said he suspected that A-Rod was juicing in high school when that Westminster team got off the bus there and everybody was the size of Schwarzenegger.
It's like the one team is like a bunch of high school kids.
Little high school kids, little skinny kids, pasty looking. Everybody else looks like they just spent the last 48 hours in the gym. Incredible. They're just pumped. Blood is bursting out of their veins. Incredible. Anyway, yeah, there wasn't much follow up there either, was there? Katie Couric, when she said, "Hey, A-Rod, have you done any illegal substances?" No. Okay, you know what? You have quite the love life working there, A-Rod. What's it like banging Kate Hudson?
Exactly.
People might have wanted to know that even more so than they wanted to, hear about his involvement with steroids and various other things. But anyway, an awful lot going on in the sporting world, in baseball especially. Guy making, I mean, would it be worth it to sacrifice your future, your body, your health for $40 million a year? No one suspects Aaron Judge is doing steroids. $40 a year for Aaron Judge.
It's crazy.
That's the new bar. You got $40 million going to Verlander. He got less money than Verlander per season. Can you imagine? A 40-year-old Justin Verlander, who looked like he was a shot fighter in the playoffs. And that's not the first time. He had a horrible World Series record. If you were going to invest that kind of money in a pitcher, wouldn't you do it only with the notion that the main interest is how does this guy perform in the postseason? What do you think, Lubie? I mean, you would want a guy that was absolutely dynamite. You would want the reincarnation of Bob Gibson as a postseason performer, no?
Well, and that's the thing with Verlander. It wasn't just this year. Like in his prime.
Yeah, he was like 0-6 in World Series games.
Not been good in World Series, yeah.
Yeah. And getting torched. I mean, not even getting out of like the third or fourth inning.
No, it's been like, I can't remember his name now. The great pitcher for the Dodgers.
Oh, Kershaw, Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah,
he just signed for $20 million after going 12-3, which isn't bad. I mean, did he give him a hometown discount? I think so. There's this perception out there that Kershaw's finished, though, even though he went 12-3 this year. That's been out there for a while, and he's had his struggles. Verlander, of course, had Tommy John, missed virtually an entire season. I think he pitched 6 innings the year before this.
Yep.
And needed Tommy John surgery, was out, comes back, gets comeback player of the year, wins the Cy Young Award, was brilliant in the regular season. But those postseason performances, I mean, are you only as good as your last film? It wasn't like it was just one. There were very, very suspect performances by Verlander in the postseason. And if a guy is going to be, at 40 years old, the type that's going to cave as soon as they hit deep stretch, do you really want to pay that guy to be your ace? And or be one of your two aces now with an also aging Max Scherzer, who had his problems in the postseason as well for the New York Mets. So the Mets have two guys there that were both brilliant in the regular season, but at a ripe old age of 40-plus, have a tendency, unfortunately, and I don't know. I mean, we won't know if it's a trend until we see what happens this year, but with Verlander, it certainly was. He did finally get a win, I guess, in a postseason, but that wasn't exactly like an all-star performance, was it? I think he got the win in a game where Houston came back or something, and he had given up some runs. My recollection is a little foggy on that. But
Well, my
we have
issue with the
some baseball
contracts
going.
is Aaron Judge, and I get it. He just won the MVP, had a tremendous year, best player in baseball from behind at the plate, but he's in his early 30s. Like a 9-year contract for a guy in his early 30s to me is we haven't seen any of those work out. Like that's
that's Albert Pujols. Yeah, exactly. A-Rod, same thing. They were paying him. He was a shot fighter.
Just they don't work out. Like I don't know. I know the Yankees caved in to fan pressure because they weren't going to do it, and then at the last hour, Steinbrenner called him and he's like, "You gotta be one, stay here." But they may get a couple years, but you saw like that the last half of that contract is going to be an utter disaster.
For Aaron Judge, you think?
Judge will be fine. He'll make all the money for the Yankees. Like I mean. He's in his early 30s now, and he's a big dude, and he's had injury issues his entire career. Like,
who will play more games next year, Stanton or Aaron Judge?
Exactly.
That's an easy one. Yeah, because Giancarlo is also making about $30 million a year, and you're lucky to see him out there for half the games. Pretty amazing. Well, I always wonder where does this money come from? I mean, how much money is being dispersed throughout Major League Baseball? And where is it originating from? I mean, is it all sponsor money? It can't be ticket sales, television money. That's the whole thing. It does seem odd that teams can afford to pay these guys that kind of capital. We've seen it many, many times. When you start looking at stats, you got a guy hitting 260 and he's getting $30 million a year. And you're asking yourself, where does this money come from? Is it international capital that's flowing into Major League Baseball coffers?
I mean, the TV deals. That's where the disparity is. Like the number one market has their own TV deal, and they get all the revenue. Whereas like the Marlins don't even. I don't even know if they have one, and whatever deal they have is like.
I'm surprised the Marlins even have a TV deal.
Exactly.
Pretty soon they're going to have like just a select schedule of Marlins games on TV. What's the point of televising all of them? It's an embarrassment. All right, we're going to get into the trivia challenge here, and we do have the Thursday night game. You have no opinion on this Thursday night game? You're getting 6 points with the Rams.
I guess
Rams, Raiders. Raiders have found a way to win a few games lately, have they not?
Yeah. I mean, I know with the Chargers, we always put it on Staley, but the fact that they were in it with the Chargers and then won speaks to them. Maybe McDaniels is figuring it out a little bit. I don't know. The Raiders were always supposed to be.
They certainly played in some tough luck early in the year. I mean, they found ways to lose games. It really did. It wasn't like they were getting annihilated, and you thought they were going to be a good team. Did they not look like they were going to be part of the toughest division in all of football, which would have been the AFC West, which turned out to be far from the case? Right? I mean, AFC West looked like it was absolutely loaded. You couldn't have anticipated that Russell Wilson would be this big of a bust. In Denver. Denver was supposed to be a really good team, a quarterback away from being a great team, and unfortunately, they sacrificed everything that they had, predicated their future on, all of these draft picks and all kinds of capital, and they got Russell Wilson, and he sucks.
Yep,
it's terrible. All right, so they're bad. The Chargers are supposed to be really good, but they've been so-so. The Raiders are supposed to be very good. They've been less than so-so for the most part, but maybe showing signs of life right now. And who else is out there? Seattle?
Well, and then the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the
Chiefs. Sorry about that. Yeah, the Chiefs. Seattle's in the NFC.
Seattle's been in the NFC for like a decade, for like 20 years.
What am I thinking? Chiefs. And the Chiefs are good, but the Chiefs are vulnerable. They're not so convincingly, and overwhelmingly better than anybody else that you can count on them. In fact, the last few weeks, they've been failing to cover the point spreads. Yeah. They're routinely overbet. No defending Super Bowl champion, though, has ever been this bad as the Los Angeles Rams have been. And now with Stafford at quarterback, they're really staggering around here. As you mentioned, you named off a bunch of stiffs there. They're in the same category as the Bubby Bristers of the universe, maybe even below that.
Like I heard of Perkins because he was at UCLA, but he has not been an NFL quarterback. And I've never heard of John Walford.
All right, so that would be the bet tonight. Does Baker Mayfield end up taking snaps for the Rams?
Oh yeah, he's starting. From what that's
you
what
think he's starting?
I know they signed him like yesterday, and he actually could start. Yeah. I mean, over John Walford. I mean, he was starting in the NFL this year. Mayfield is not good anymore, but he's better than John Walford.
How quickly can he, digest the offense? The bizarre offensive schemes of Sean McVay, the brilliant innovator, who unfortunately right now, couldn't score at the Heidi Fleiss pool party with that team. Incredible. All right, Dave Gurggles Gergely going to join us. Can we bring up Gurgs here for a little
Obviously.
foray before we get started here with the Hialeah Park
Yes.
Trivia Challenge? There he is, the handsome one himself, Dave Gurggles Gergely. How are you, David?
Doing great. Speaking of the Chiefs, we just had Larry Little's tournament last week, and Emmett Thomas was here. How about that name from the past?
Nice.
Yeah.
How'd that go, by
Emmett
the way?
Thomas. It went well. Lenny Harris, the Marlins, the pinch hit king, if you will. Yeah, Dwight Stevenson, a whole bunch of really terrific people, and they raised quite a bit of money for scholarships for kids. Your name was brought up Friday night at Hialeah when I sat with Footy and Frank Fiore.
Oh, very nice.
He asked how you were doing. I said, you're doing well and surviving out there. And Hialeah, the Brunetti family put on quite a show in the Citation Room. What a spread, and a big donation to the fund as well. I saw John Jr. on Friday, and then I saw Stevie on Saturday out at one of the local ovals, and he's recovering. I know he had a little setback for a while. So the Brunetti family's doing well, and Larry Little's tournament a big success.
Well, that was great, too. They had a great victory. I guess that would have been the next day with Mind Control last Saturday. Did you catch that race?
That's right.
I mean, they were
I
campaigning.
did not. That was Larry Little's tournament that Saturday.
All right. Well, it would have been nice towards the end there if you could have got off the course a little early and plunged away on Mind Control, who won his last race. He's going to retire and be retired to stud, and won a grade 1, the Cigar Mile. And it was an extremely thrilling finish where Mind Control literally exhibited mind control and sort of froze out the other two at the last second and then stuck like a giraffe, a neck on the wire there, and ended up winning his final race. I think the horse made over $4 million campaigning, which is pretty cool.
Was Johnny V on him?
Johnny V, man. Great ride by Johnny V. Yeah. So, that was a nice touch there for the people at Hialeah Park, and Steve Brunetti especially. I think he was the member of the family that was really following that horse around quite a bit wherever Mind Control happened to race. And bold fight Steve Brunetti's putting up, huh? I mean, and he looks good.
Yeah.
And he's taking it very, very well. So I'm glad you were there. Now, was Merck on the scene? Mercury Morris?
Murky was on the scene. Merck always joins one of the foursomes and just brings a putter, and he drives around and puts it when he feels like it, and that's about it. He was there. Larry Ball was there. Charlie Babb was there. Bob Brzezinski. When I was on number 5, and the next hole, number 6, was Mandis's old house. So I told Brzezinski, listen, when you drive by his house, I don't want you spitting in his yard because Michigan just beat Ohio State. He was in good spirits, though.
Brzezinski, very quiet, but a great guy. Great guy.
Yeah, really.
I remember seeing Bob Brzezinski when I was coming to Rams. He was the first round pick of the Rams going back, I guess. This would have been late 70s, early 80s, and he didn't talk to anybody. He barely spoke. And then, of course, later became just a real welcome, integral part of the community here with the Brews Room sports bars. And remember when he opened it up, and I thought, wow, I that when we were covering you with the Rams, you never said a word. He said, well, I didn't feel like talking to you guys. You're a bunch of nutbags. No, I don't know that he felt comfortable out there, but certainly had a great career with the Miami Dolphins and became a big part of the community here. All right, how you feeling about the questions today? I mean, we have.
I'm ready. I'm ready. They might have a little weak age to them because I did them for last week when Lubie went to Luau or wherever he went. I don't know, Hawaii. God bless him. Good for you.
Yeah, he was in pineapple tossing contest out there in Hawaii. And how about coconuts? Weren't they prominent there? Coconuts. Coconuts would be big, right? Pineapple coconut ice cream. That was probably the order of business the entire time. All right, good. So you're ready to go, and. I know. So you were there at the Citation Room. I always love the affairs they put on there at Hialeah Park. They're absolutely fantastic. Segreto was out there too?
No, Segreto wasn't there. The Big O handled the introductions of the athletes. So Orlando Alcingari, he did a good job. And then Larry interspersed some of the deals and telling stories about the guys. So it really worked out great. And a nice crowd. And Sam Jones's son was there, which was wow. I couldn't help but go up and talk to him and relate the experiences you and I and Paul had with him. And his son, I think, works for Mass Mutual in Boca in the insurance business. He was on his way to a cruise, and they autographed the Sam Jones ball, went for about $500. And I just had to tell him what a wonderful man his dad was. Yeah, but great celebration and a real good tournament. Yep.
All right, very, very good. Did you do any plunging there? Because there's nothing quite like the champion simulcasting room at Hialeah Park for betting.
I was busy. We had Miami-Dade baseball alumni tournament on Friday, and some of the guys are now scouts in the major leagues that played 30 or 40 years ago at Miami-Dade. So I didn't get done with that till 5:30. So I wasn't going to bet the last in Woodbine. I just enjoyed going to the citation room and having a little dinner. And I mean, what a spread they put out, all taken care of on the Brunetti's arm. So they didn't pay a dime for it, and the people were great. The service was great, and they were still plunging downstairs when I came in. But no, I didn't have a chance to get any plunging done. Maybe this Saturday.
Did you see any people, screaming euphorically, leaving the casino there with like $80,000 jackpots? Because that happens a lot at Hialeah.
Well, they were going out the front end. I was going out the citation at the clubhouse, and so, but you could hear the screaming in a positive way all the way around the corner. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, usually you hear the screaming at casinos in the parking lot when people realize
ripping up the tickets.
their car has been repossessed. Yeah. That happened with a friend of mine when he came out. He had made a big score there, and he got off the hook.
I remember
for a
that
lot of
story.
Money. Yeah, and he came outside. They said, "Hey, let's go have some dinner. I got about 400 left." His car had been repossessed while he was at the track. Still a classic. All right, Gurggles, we'll get the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge started in just a few moments here. That's Dave Gergely,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, one of the greats. Mike Lubie, I'm Jeff DeForest. You can dial us up if you want to play and get on board here at 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. If you'd like to play the game, we have a Landlubbers gift certificate we're giving away. Lubie will be there at Landlubbers later on tonight conducting a live version of the Trivia Challenge. It won't be the Hialeah Park version, but nonetheless, a special Lubie Professor concoction, which Lenny the Chronic's been saying that the questions are so tough. That I mean, is that true, Lubie? Did you specifically make them so impossible that the Chronic and his team is limited down and diminished to just being a regular run-of-the-mill team?
It's not me. The professor got frustrated after a while when the Chronics would rack up these ridiculous scores that made it a little bit more, I don't want to say difficult, but they were never simple, but he made them a little bit more challenging, I'll say.
All right. So
they're obtuse. I would call them obtuse.
Obtuse, yeah.
Yes.
Shawshank Redemption, yeah. Timothy Robbins calls the warden obtuse, and he wasn't particularly flattered by that remark. Led to like another 2 years in the hole or something. All right, coming back with more here in a moment. Don't forget Hialeah Park, great place to go. Tremendous entertainment destination. Going to be great for the holidays. All kinds of special stuff going on. Frankie's looking good from the last time I saw him, right?
Yes.
He sustained that? Okay, very good. Because great guy, and we absolutely need him. And we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
7:35. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante. The Belmont's now 1.8 miles. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo by Lubie right here on the Defo Show.
All right, we think he's still alive. There he is, Dave Gurggles Gergely. It sounded like he was having a little bit of a throat problem there. Mike Lubie Lubitz, it's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge on the Defo Show here on South Florida Live. Later on, Mike Mayo, the gambling gourmet, who's become obsessed. You know what? I tossed that idea out there, Lubie, and I figured it would be one that met with immediate rejection from Mayo because he tends to dismiss most of my ideas on the food show. And then he went crazy with this tasting of jarred spaghetti sauce. Pretty incredible. I don't know. Do you delve into the jarred spaghetti sauce realm at all, Dave Gurggles Gergely?
No. But in Hawaii, and I meant to tell Lubie, what island did you go to? The Big Island?
We did Oahu.
In Hawaii?
Where Honolulu.
Oh, okay. In Maui, there's a place called Duke's, and they have crab meat macadamians.
Ooh.
Unbelievable.
Right. Yeah.
That is something to taste. But jarred spaghetti, Pasadena.
Now, did you travel there with the same woman you went to the Maldives with?
No, that was a different one. That was this girl had a timeshare in Hawaii. I got my own hotel room, but we ended up enjoying some time together. But no, different girl for the Maldives.
That was one of my working titles from my biography at one point, Dave Gurggles Gergely, Timeshare in Hell. Which, and then we had a polyman who had a timeshare going at Memorial West for a while. Remember?
Yes, I remember that. Jeff High did too, didn't he?
Jeff High, yeah, the former sales guy at a radio station we were at. Seemed to be spending like at least 1 week every 6 months in Memorial West. So why not just buy the room as a timeshare, and then you could rent it out the rest of the year to the other people and probably make yourself a tidy profit. All right, we're ready to get going with the game. If you're ready, Dave Gurggles Gergely, we're ready to go too. 954-417-0070. If you'd like to play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge today and compete for the illustrious prize, the Landlubber's gift certificate, which a lot of the people that play the game here on the show end up at Landlubber's on these Thursday nights. And so, very appropriate that they would be able to whip out a $25 gift certificate before they even receive it from Lubie and apply it to the check. Server comes to the table and says, you're $25 short. And they say, that man right over there has another 25. Exactly. Point to Lubie. And then he starts fumbling and bumbling and saying, hey, no, you can't use it tonight. You can't use it tonight. Not good on day of. All right, 954-417-0070. You'll be accommodated somehow with a nice gift certificate at Landlubbers. All right, are you ready, Dave? We should do this. And you heard the melodic tones of the Polyman, who is going to make his return, I believe, with our Geezers at Caesars gambling package that we're putting together. And I think he's going to be a prominent part of it. He has vowed to learn how to turn on the computer. You think it'll come down to the last second, as we're about to go on the air? And the Polyman says, I'm not sure how to work this. What do you think? Or can we do a couple of test runs like well in advance and make sure everybody's ready to go? That wouldn't be our MO. That's for sure.
That won't matter. No.
All right. But anyway, in honor of the Polyman, and very appropriate, too, with the baseball winter meetings and all the exciting things happening in Major League Baseball, at least for those who follow the game, we don't have a team. Did our team do anything? The only thing they did, they put the same for sale sign that they have out every year, it seems, for the last 25. And that is that all of their young pitching talent, with the exception of Sandy Alcantara, the Cy Young Award winner, they're all up for grabs. Right? That's their stance at every winter meetings. You can have anybody you want on our roster, and they probably sit in the corner there, like tumbleweed blowing by. Nobody talks to them. It's absolutely great. But we're going to start the game in the traditional fashion with Dave Gurggles Gergely as the Polyman and some
Easy Baseball. This oft-quoted Yankee on Joe DiMaggio's marriage to Marilyn Monroe said, I don't know if it's good for baseball, but it sure beats the hell out of rooming with Phil Rizzuto. What's that? Yogi Berra, Walter Guerra, Pancho Herrera, or High Sierra?
All right, Lubie, let's see if this thing still works. Did you grease it up before you went to Hawaii? There it is. Random phone scrambler. And it lands on Lenny the Chronic. Very appropriate to start us out. Lenny, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How's everybody? Good morning.
Well, we're doing
Good,
just fine. Thanks for
Lenny.
joining us here on the show. You're going to be out there tonight challenging Lubie and the Professor?
We'll be out there. We
All right,
enjoy it. We like the tough questions. It's very challenging.
Very good. Very good.
Gurggles, we need you tonight. Come on down. We'll be short staffed tonight.
Yeah. I'll be the cooler. Mr. Wong, table 13. Mr. Wong, table 13.
we can't get much cooler these days.
Oh, good.
All right, so you have 1 point.
All right,
You're on fire here.
True or false, Lenny? Former Gator and New York Giants quarterback Jesse Palmer, who's doing Rooms to Go commercials, was on The Bachelor. Next is going to try his hand at a game show hosting the revival of the show Trump Card, once hosted by our own Jimmy Cephalo. True or false?
Let's go true. He's got the look.
It's got to be false, yeah.
No.
To bring up Trump Card and
Paulie,
Jimmy Cephalo, I mean, that was the giveaway there, David.
Yep.
Come on.
That was for you, Paulie. All right.
Did you ever do this, by the way? I could see this young Gurggles with a little bit of a evil seed, devilish type of side. Making a reservation for Mr. Mehoff, Mr. Jack Mehoff.
No, I never did. No.
No. Just waiting for the person, the poor unsuspecting person to say, table is ready for 4 for Jack Mehoff.
Yeah. No, we did used to sign our attendance sheets in college. We signed the attendance sheets in college, Dick Hertz, and then the professor would say, who's Dick Hertz? We'd all raise our hands.
Those are the days, man. Clean, simple, good fun. Yeah. Not people showing up with guns and all this stuff just to make some noise and get attention. All right. You have one going for 4 here, Lenny.
Okay.
All right, Lenny. We want to know who was the first Miami Dolphins quarterback to pass for more than 400 yards in a single game. What's that? Right. Dan Marino, David Woodley, Bob Greasy, or Earl Morrall?
Let's go with David Woodley.
Woodley. Wow, the least likely.
Yes, sir.
Incredible.
All right, who was it against, Lenny? Do you remember?
No one then. Probably the Jets.
No, it was the Cowboys. It was the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, really?
Right. Does he lose the points for not knowing the second part of the question?
Yes, he does. Half a point.
All right. Yeah, 4 points. We're going to give it to you, Lenny. We're going to go ahead and concede that one to you. 4 points going for 9.
All right, Lenny, I know you're a big hockey fan. We want to know who scored the very first goal in NHL history. What's that? Harvey Highland, Eddie Girard, Joe Malone, or Dave Ritchie?
What year was that, Gurggles? Do you have any idea?
Dave Ritchie.
1917.
1917. Dave Ritchie, you got it? I would have said Lionel Ritchie, was more likely, no?
That's amazing.
Yeah, he started for the Montreal Wanderers back then. Wow, that's pretty good.
Wow.
And you know what he sang after he scored a goal? Because I'm the Wanderer. The Wanderer.
That's right.
Okay, Lenny the Chronic, man, with a dynamite run there. He rattles off 9 points. Just incredible. Like he was Steph Curry shooting threes out of the corner. And so going to be a tough total to beat to get to the finals, but that still leaves a spot wide open for sure. And you can dial us up if you want to play at 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. Gurggles, you've been smoking a bunch of Perdomo cigars. Anything happening there?
I had some during Larry Little's. And one of the big guests at the Citation Room Friday night was LT, Lawrence Taylor. And he was so obliging to all the people. They had the big Larry Legends poster up there, and LT was posing for photos with everybody. Yeah. So when LT got done taking all these pictures, smiling with all the people, I walked to him. I said, "Hey, LT, I don't want a photo with you. I just want to give you a Perdomo cigar." Nice. I hand him a Champagne Robusto, and what does he pull out of his pocket? The exact same cigar. Oh, so wow. LT smoking Perdomos as well. Quite a coincidence. You don't have to go to the Maldives like I did to enjoy a Perdomo cigar. You just go to 5150 Northwest 167th Street, just a little east of the Home Depot on the south side. Perdomo Cigars, the big sign there. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, the holidays are coming up. They have gift packs of assorted cigars. You can buy a whole box. You can buy a humidor, or you can buy a gift card at Perdomo Cigars for the one you love and let them do their own shopping. 305-627-6700, the number to call, and the place to go, Perdomo Cigars, 5150 Northwest 167th Street, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday, Sunday, you want a Perdomo cigar? Not a problem. Any tobacconist worth their salt will have a Perdomo cigar, and if you're not sure, go online, www.perdomocigars.com. So tonight, when the game between the Rams and the Raiders goes under, light up a Perdomo cigar.
All right, you have a prediction on that. That's very good. I like the way you worked that in. I thought you were going to say, that much to your delight, that LT pulled a $100 bill out of his pocket and said, "Here, take this, kid." No?
No, he's always good at paying for the group and everything like that. And he's actually a very delightful person if you're not a 15-year-old girl or whatever. But I mean, he is with the people.
Nice
he was terrific. He really was. Yeah.
No, we found him to be overwhelmingly engaging when it
was
the lovely Robin West accompanying him. She's been doing.
I don't know who was with him. He had a young lady with him at the dinner. I'm not sure exactly who it was, but he couldn't have been nicer to the people, signing autographs and saying hello to everybody. He was just delightful. Yeah, he really was.
He was fantastic.
Good to see him out on the golf course.
Probably, I would say it turned out to be of many, many great highlights. A highlight moment of Lubie and my 11-year run together at various Super Bowl radio rows. When LT was, we were the first station that he came over to be interviewed by. And how many Hall of Famers were gathered around there and all partaking in the conversation? I think we had like 3 or 4 Hall of Fame running backs, so all standing around behind.
You had literally Ronnie Brown, Melvin Ingram, Jerome Bettis, and they all were in awe of LT. It was the funniest thing.
It was great, and he was telling stories, and it was extremely engaging. And people say that too, that because I remember running into LT one time. I was playing golf actually at Doral on not the Blue Monster, but one of the other courses, and it was a crappy day outside, so there weren't that many people out there. And then coming down, the opposite fairway was LT in a group, and he never minded stopping and in the middle of his game. It wasn't like one of these things where he blew everybody off. He would stop and shake hands, take pictures with everybody, exchange cigars, and what was very much like that. And then unfortunately. He was a man that, often overlooked by the people in the media because they all, were rooting for him. He was a great player, but did happen to have a considerable dark side. No question about that. All right, 954-417-0070 on the phone lines. We have Lenny the Chronic setting the pace here. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, 9 points. He tallied right out of the chute, and we're ready for our next set of questions with the great Dave Gurggles Gergely.
All right, NBA. Let's go way back in Heat history. This former Miami Heat player, during his best impression of Norm Crosby in a post-game news conference, said, "I don't want to shoot my mouth in my foot, but those are games we can win." What's that? Sherman Douglas, Mr. Peabody's boy Sherman Williams, or Walt No-Neck Williams?
The general, man. Did we want the general here after his brilliance at the Cuse? All right, here's a random phone scrambler, and it lands on Mike. Mike, way to go, man. You just nosed out a couple of competitors there with the scrambler. Mike, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. And I got to tell Dave that on his recommendation, I watched that movie Dream Horse. It was fantastic.
Wasn't it great, Mike? Yeah, especially the end where they had the cast members and the regular people singing Delilah. Great movie.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I loved it.
Good for you.
By the way, we're getting a couple of notes here. Johnny V was suspended for excessive use of the whip. I think you're only allowed to crack a horse like 6 times during the course of a race, according to the New York Racing Association. So I guess he went to the whip like 7 times to drive this horse home, mind control, and fined 4 dimes and suspended for 1 day. Johnny V, the very distinguished Johnny V, who you would not figure was inclined to be outside the parameters or guidelines of any of the rules of horse racing. He's such a dignified guy.
Well, based on your description, he probably needed to do that to win, to be honest with you.
It was a 3-horse. I mean, the old ding-dong finish there, and any of the 3 could have won. In fact, mind control looked the least likely to win, and I guess you could say under very intense urging, ended up prevailing in the final strides by it looked like a neck to me, but great race. I mean, a very exciting race in the slop there at Aqueduct that took place last week. All right, you have 1 point and going for 2 here, Mike.
All right, Mike, boxing, true or false? It looks like Floyd Mayweather was recently in the mood to shop. He just spent $3.1 million at Art Basel in Miami. True or false?
I would say true.
True. That is true.
It is true. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Was he at a strip club? Where was he? Oh, he bought a piece of art.
No. Yes, he did.
What
yes,
was
he
it?
did.
The toilet bowl, stuffed with a palm tree?
No. It was the unpeeled banana, I think it was. One of those,
Exactly.
The shit they're getting away with down there, that's got to be the biggest money laundering event in the history of the world. Man. I mean, I'm surprised everybody, I don't want to cast aspersions towards the people of Colombia. Very lovely people, but... you would figure that unless you had some kind of association with El Chapo, you're not paying $8 million for a banana
Wasn't he
to a canvas. Come on. What a way to get away with that, huh? That's amazing. Art Basel, too. I mean, the usual joke supplier. Doesn't it sound more like a hockey goon? Andy says a pro bowler. Like, you could hear, Emmerich, saying, Mike Emmerich saying, here comes Basel into the game. This Art Basel, I tell you, he's one bad egg. He's not good for the game of hockey, right? And then he immediately, slams a guy into the boards there and breaks his collarbone. It does. It sounds like a hockey goon to me. No? Have you ever been down there, Gurggles? You're very artistically inclined.
No. To me, Art Basel would be the host of one of the documentaries on WLRN or PBS. And here's a picture of Art Basel with the monkeys in the jungles of the Amazon. Go ahead, Art. All right.
National Geographic. Okay. What do we have? We have two going for 5. Yeah, very good.
2 going for 5. Yep. All right, Mike, let's go to the World Cup. What was the first country to be eliminated in the first round of World Cup play when they hosted the event? What's that?
Wow.
Mexico, Uruguay, South Africa, or France?
South Africa.
South Africa.
2010.
Very good.
Well done.
Wow. They couldn't get Mozambique home that year? Unbelievable.
All
Gunning for the sweep here, Mike.
right. That's right. All right. Football, Mike. Tony Romo had one of his biggest games as a professional football player in just his 5th NFL start. When his Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day, he threw for 5 touchdowns in a 38-10 win over whom?
Ooh.
The Eagles, the Vikings, the Cardinals, or the Bucks?
I'll say Cardinals.
Cardinals.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2006.
That was not an easy
Maybe
one, but it does leave Mike with 5, puts him in pretty good shape. So we have Lenny with 9 and Mike with 5. Good players so far. You can dial us up if you'd like to play at 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. One of the things we want to do, and it's not like we procrastinate or kind of just hanging around and not getting the job done, is get down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill for a show. And Gurggles, we'd love it if you could join us down there. That would be fantastic because it's a great place to go.
It's a great place.
It really
Wonderful
is. Yeah.
place, man. Yeah, just go down there for lunch one day. Nice drive, and then if you have time, get down there for a weekend. The food is terrific. The view that matches the food.
Oh, unreal, and the service is great. Also, I'm heading for the Bahamas Sunday for a couple of days, and the big question would be, even at the most elegant and elite of places, are you going to be concerned about the service? Because it's weird when the bar features same-day service on a sign. And you're thinking the fact that they have to allude to the fact that you might get served today is not good, right? And in the Keys, it could be, very, very casual, some of these places. But It's not like they're on top of you there. They understand that you're there to get this nice, relaxed vibe. But man, you're very efficient in everything they do. I was very, very impressed when I was down there for a couple of days last year when we first connected with Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Great place, unreal. Jimmy wouldn't have it any other way. And of course, Larry Calvano, the owner there, he does a tremendous job. Dominic and Jimmy, he's the guy behind all of the dishes that come out of the kitchen. They're very creative and just exquisitely prepared. Whether you're talking about a plate of nachos or the finest and freshest of seafood done in some kind of fancy schmancy mayo type of style, right? The pistachio incrustation there, would that include a little bit of cumin? I mean, that kind of thing. You can get that there if that's your bag. But if it's not, you can get a grouper in a bag, and anything that you want. That they aim to please there. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. It's the first thing you come to, right? Are you inclined to stop and get one of those plutonium encased sandwiches at the Shell station in Florida City, Gurggles, or do you just like me, just make sure you have gas and blow right through that part?
Absolutely. If I have to stop there for gas, fine. But I'm not getting a sandwich when I go to a place like Jimmy Johnson's and get,
Right.
grouper stuffed with crab meat or something like that. Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
And then, I don't know what it is. Are women always inclined to take like the back roads? Is that unusual? You would think it would be a male thing, right? But they always want to go on Card Sound Road and go to Alabama Jack's, which I say, nothing wrong with either, really. I mean, you're kind of driving through like a lot of marshland there on Card Sound Road, but and you don't know if you're ever going to find your way out of there. Once you get on that road, you're hoping that it comes to an end somewhere inside of civilization. And if you don't like Frankfurters, what are you going to Alabama Jacks for? That's why it's so much better. Just go to regular route, the Overseas Highway, mile marker 104. Stop in there. You're going to have yourself a great time, a great meal, great place to relax. And if you're staying overnight, the accommodations are exquisite. Or even if you're in a nearby hotel, this would be the place to gather and spend your day. It's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, the Overseas Highway in Key Largo. All right, more to come. We'll play some more players as we continue with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Dave is, on his game today, as always. We have Lenny the Chronic with 9, Mike with 5. Dial us up if you'd like to play. 954-417-0070, and we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that
The time.
it's 7:59.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently
bail out. How many gamblers did I bail out last weekend with my game of the year? $100 better made $10,000. A $500 better made $50,000. Well, I got 6 games on Sunday that I'm releasing absolutely free. These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your unborn children on these 6 games. Absolutely.
I believe.
We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. What do you think about this one? Dolphins favored by 3 on the road over the Chargers. Dolphins favored by 3 coming off that loss against San Francisco. Chargers, didn't they just pull a game out of their ass there in dramatic fashion just last week?
No, the opposite.
The opposite. They blew one. That's right. They lost to the Raiders. So that was ugly. And they've been so-so this year. What do you think? 3 points, Dolphins on the road, West Coast game, always difficult. Did the Dolphins travel back and forth across the country
Yes.
or just stay out there?
No,
I think they were
stayed
training
there.
yesterday at UCLA. Yeah, they stayed there.
They stay. Okay.
They stayed there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. So they're having a good time out there, and plenty of time to bounce back from losing to Mr. Irrelevant, which I don't know if that's going to be one of your questions today, but
No.
I believe that was the first Mr. Irrelevant ever. I don't know if it was ever to throw a touchdown pass or to even throw a pass in NFL play. That couldn't be. You would have to think that somebody took a quarterback with the last pick in the draft, and maybe had to just throw him out there one day by total accident, as was the case here. But the kid acquitted himself very well. All right, so we have a good game working here. Speaking about a tight finish, Lenny with 9, Mike with 5. We're open to more players at 954-417-0070. Dave Gurggles Gergely is the master of ceremonies here with the questions. It's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We'll get right back into the game here until we decide a champion in short order. So get involved on the phone lines. And here's Dave with our next set of questions.
Boxing. This fighter on his friends while growing up in a neighborhood said, me and Jake LaMotta grew up in the same neighborhood. You want to know how popular Jake was? When we play hide and seek, nobody ever looked for him. What was that? Rocky Graziano, Rocky Colavito, Rocky Balboa, or Fernando Balboa?
Jake checked out recently, but you would see him. They would wheel him in, and he always had the cowboy hat on to Gulfstream Park quite frequently. He was a big fan of the track, and I guess he died well into his 90s, and was still pretty coherent. You'd run into him, and he'd give you the usual thing: start throwing a couple of those left hooks to the body, and treat you like you were Carmen Basilio. It was unbelievable. All right, the scrambler has landed on Ron. Ron, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. Let's go with A.
A is correct. Some tough competition here. So
boy,
you have
Ron.
1 point. You're just getting started.
All right, Ron, football, true or false? Believe it or not, former NFL player Fred Dreyer was almost put in the lead of character of Cheers, making Sam a former football player rather than a baseball player. True or false?
I think that's true.
I believe that to be true.
That is true.
Oh, very good. Gurggles, yeah. 2 for 2. A little TV sports trivia combined there. And Ron was on his game. Very sharp. Going for 5 points now and a tie for second.
All right. Another World Cup question for you, Ron. Which team went 559 consecutive minutes without giving up a goal in World Cup play between 2006 and 2010?
Is there more than one there?
What's that?
It seems like all games are 0-0.
This one lasted a little longer, this streak.
All right.
Was that Chile, France, England, or Switzerland?
That's like 10 games. No, 8 games or something like that without a goal.
I don't know. Let's go France.
France.
You're right. You don't know. It was Switzerland.
That's still it would have been a very stinging blow if you happen to follow this guy named LeBoff, who handicaps for Action Sports, who told you to bet Switzerland on the money line against Portugal the other day, only to see them lose 6-1, the biggest blowout in the World Cup so far this year. Nothing like following the expert handicappers. All right, chance at 6 points here. This would push you past Mike and into a position to possibly make the finals, Ron.
All right, golf, Ron. Who was the first golfer since Jack Nicklaus to win 8 PGA events in his first 6 years on the tour? Phil Mickelson, Tom Watson, Tiger Woods, or Jordan Spieth?
Let's go Jordan Spieth.
Spieth.
Good guess. Phil Mickelson did that.
Oh, yeah? All right. Good, because we had a miscalculation on the score. He would have had 7 if he had gotten that one correct after nailing that true-false question about Fred Dreyer. All right, dial us up if you'd like to play, 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. Gurggles, let's get in another word for Padoma Cigars, because these things are so great, and they've been loyal supporters of the program, much like Hialeah Park and all of our other fine sponsors here on the show, and we certainly appreciate that as we made this transition into the podcast universe. I believe things are about to really take off here, judging by
Good.
a couple of things that are working. So, and we appreciate these people that hung in there with us, including Perdomo Cigars, which, they've been faithful and sponsoring you here on the program for the whole 25 years I think you've been on.
Yeah. Late 90s when I came aboard. Nick and the family have been terrific. Nick, very soon, I spoke to his lovely new daughter-in-law. Nick's going to be a grandfather pretty soon. Nick Jr. has joined the business after doing his undergrad at UM. His lovely wife was at UM as well, Lauren. They're expecting a baby, I think, in March. But Perdomo Cigars running terrific. We actually sell Perdomo cigars right on the golf course here on our beverage cart. And about every week or two, I've got to order more because we're selling them. You can get them in person, factory direct to you, as they say, by going right to the factory. 305-627-6700. If you want to call, get directions, or go online, perdomocigars.com to find the location. But really easy. It's between 47th and 57th on the Palmetto, on the east side, a little bit south of on the south side, a little bit east of Home Depot, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go in there. There's Donnie right at the reception desk. He'll direct you to the humidor. Nick's office off to the left. Nick Jr.'s office just in front. It's a family affair there, Perdomo. They treat you like family, but they make cigars perfect, one at a time. Cuban seed tobacco grown in Nicaragua, whether it's a Connecticut or Maduro wrapper, they make them perfect one at a time. If you're not sure and you're not a cigar smoker, but you have a friend or a spouse that does smoke them, go there. Buy them a sample pack, get them a gift card, get them a humidor. Perdomo Cigars can do anything you want, and they'll do it perfectly. So today, tomorrow, the holiday season, why not stop by Perdomo Cigars and make somebody's holiday perfect?
Wow. I mean, this might be, as we said, as a basketball deal, this might be the most lopsided trade since the Joe Barry Carroll for the Chief and the rights to Kevin McHale. But Andy saying that they accomplished the prisoner swap.
Oh my God, did they really do it?
Brittany Griner for this, mass murderer, arms dealer guy.
Oh, that's not
the Dragon of Death. So I mean, look, let's face it. Regardless of your opinion of Brittany Griner and the positions that she had taken, if you're adverse to them, nobody deserved to have happen. The consequences of this ridiculous, farcical thing, doing 9 years of hard labor in a labor camp. But this guy they let go, man, is no prince. Let's put it that way.
Oh, he sucks.
Yeah, I mean, by comparison, the criminal to criminal, we got hosed in this deal. Pretty bad.
That's not good.
But I hope they got this other guy, this other poor guy that was accused of spying there. Was it Whalen?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, he's already been involved there for 3 years, which let's hope he was part of the transaction. And then I would imagine there's also a player to be named later, no? You think Putin insisted on that?
Well, it could be. What I would do, maybe Yakov Smirnov will be sent back. Maybe him.
All right, let's grab another player, and then we'll go to the finals here, and we'll see if this next player can work his way into the equation. And so let's fire off the next set of questions. Dave Gurggles, Gergely.
All right, golf. This longtime comedian on his favorite pastime said, I went to play golf the other day and tried to shoot my age, but I shot my weight instead. Was that Bob Hope, Myron Cope, Edwin Pope, or Annie Lope?
Yeah, remember that when it was like you couldn't hit your weight or whatever that is, and now you couldn't bowl your weight. I mean, that would be more like it. All right, Grambler lands on Pat. Pat's going to conclude the round robin portion of this game here. Pat, welcome to the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Hello.
Good morning, guys. I'll go with A.
Yeah, this is kind of the group stage that we're in right now. You would have to say. We're like China trying to qualify here. All right, Pat's got 1 point going for 2.
All right, Pat, football, true or false? Former New York Giant Justin Tuck, while hosting the New York Cares annual gala, just auctioned off a bottle of his personal collection of Don Julio tequila and raised $12,000 for the charity in doing so. True or false?
I will say that's true.
True. It is true.
It is true. Well done, Pat.
Very good. 2 for 2, going for 5.
All right, Pat, we want to give one commensurate with your ability here. Here we go.
Are we still giving away? Is that still going on? The tickets to Art Basel as part of the prize package here? No?
No.
Oh, is that over? It's over?
We have 2 for Art Garfunkel and 1 for Art Linkletter.
Did
All
you
right.
have any Art Basel people staying at the hotel there? Because it'd be weird,
No,
you
we
see a
get
guy
more
schlepping
for
like a statue in, and you're thinking, wow, the guy just paid like $6 million for that.
no, we get more for NASCAR when they're down in Homestead.
All right.
All right, here you go, Pat. Hoops. In 1992, the 76ers traded Charles Barkley to the Phoenix Suns for 3 players. Which of the following was
Not
one of the 3 Philly got in return? Which did not? Andrew Lang, Tim Perry, Jeff Hornacek, or Hershey Hawkins?
Perry.
Incorrect.
No, Hershey Hawkins was not included in that trade.
All right, that was not an easy one, but you do have 2 going for 7 here, Pat. This will put you in the finals if you get this one right. Otherwise, we'll catch you next week.
All right, another World Cup question for you, Pat. The first ever World Cup finals won by the host team Uruguay 4-2. And who did they beat in that finals? Was it Germany, England, Brazil, or Argentina?
England.
No, it was Argentina.
Argentina. I was going to go with that. Believe it or not, I would have gotten that one right. All right, Pat, good try there. And we come back to the top of the list here. Lenny the Chronic and Mike going to square off for the championship here of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Don't forget Hialeah Park. I mean, is that place great or what, Gurggles? I know every time I go down there, I feel the same way. It's like, wow, I loved every minute when the heyday of racing was going on, and I have very, very fond memories of many days there. A lot of visuals of seeing myself in certain situations there at Hialeah Park, including being broke many times. But other than that, a lot of very favorable memories as well. It was just a wild, great time in Miami and South Florida, and it was a pleasure to be a part of it. And then, I went away for a while, and you thought, this is never coming back, right? It's going to be like Bowie or one of these places where you're seeing like newspapers blowing by once in a while, and it starts to look really run down. But they kept the grounds impeccable, which is amazing. Dennis Testa, great tribute there. And then I vividly remember walking out of the press conference with the aforementioned your man, Jeff High. And there was a press conference, and John Sr. had announced that he was going to go ahead and begin a casino project there, and this is what it was going to look like. And it had the sort of Art Basel artist rendering, which usually it never looks like that original design. But wow, I mean, they really did it. And I remember working on a video many years ago with my friend Mike Fernandez. We did a video about the transition that Churchill Downs was going to undertake. While they were trying to preserve the old and all of the classic architecture, Twin Spires and part of Churchill Downs that was so historic, and yet modernize it so it was a facility that people could enjoy today, because obviously it was built like 100 years ago. Hialeah really did an incredible job of that, integrating the old and the new. But you still get the great feeling there at Hialeah Park. A casino couldn't be any better. So tremendous job by the people at Hialeah Park. And it's just always a pleasure to go there. And then all of their casino aspects are extremely well run. And I know you get annoyed very easily, Gurggles, if things aren't the way they're supposed to be. You would be the first guy to point out, hey, can we get a dealer in here that isn't named Foo? Well, I don't know if you can really legitimately complain about that.
Yeah.
But, Hialeah Park, they really do it right. I mean, you never hear anybody walking away going, oh, my God, could you believe the way they run this joint? It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Steve Calabro, who played in the tournament.
How's his game?
Little, who runs the casino, runs the show, and, man, he looks great. He's a better casino manager than he is a golfer.
You know what? He looks like he could golf, doesn't he? I mean, he looks like a golfer.
He always looks to me like Ernie Kovacs' grandson.
Yeah.
That's what I always call him, with that smile and that mustache. But he was in rare form, and the casino is doing terrific, as you say. It's a pleasure to go in, and the food is terrific. So you go in there, you have a great I've been there for breakfast already, for their omelets in the Flamingo area there, and then go over to you got the best of both worlds. You make your money in the casino, go over to the horse track, bet some horses, and say, I'm going to play a pick 5. But instead of staying there for all 5 races, let me go across to the casino. Just walk down the hall, play a little poker, play some slots. What a great place to go.
They also have that clever little area there where they do have a couple of screens so you can stay in touch with the thoroughbreds. And
That's true.
I can't, I can't deny that I bet a couple of jughead races when I was down there too. If that was the only thing
Why
on the
not?
screen, you know me, screen to screen. I see horses moving, any type. I don't care what they are. They could be pulling a carriage in Central Park, and I'm still going, come on with that 5. But no, they do have a lot of areas there where you can indulge and engage in your simulcasting and still, be in the atmosphere, atmosphere which is, so brilliant there in the casino. All right, ready for the finals here. Lenny and Mike, they're ready to go. Guys, you're well acquainted with the rules here, but we are obligated to go ahead and review them once again. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. No, those are different rules. Gurggles is going to fire off a question. Call out your name if you'd like to answer right away. Nobody answers right away. We offer multiple choice. First person to call out his name gets first chance. We go back and forth till we have a winner. Good luck, gentlemen, for the Landlubber's gift certificate and the now expired tickets to Art Basel. Here's Dave Gurggles Gergely.
All right, guys, hockey. In 1993, Chris Draper was involved in one of the strangest trades ever when he was traded to the Detroit Red Wings for what?
Oh, okay. Not for whom? Yeah, just for what?
Oh, not for whom. This is a what. Okay. Was it A, a used Zamboni, B, 1 dozen hockey sticks, C, $1, or D, 2 sets of goalie protective gear?
Lenny. What was
Lenny.
it?
$1.
$1.
He was known as the $1 man, and
Nice.
He'd become a fixture for Detroit, playing over 1,000 games for the Red Wings after that, and winning 4 Stanley Cups for $1. That's 25 cents a Stanley Cup. And congratulations, Lenny. In your name, the gift certificate's going to be given to Mike. All right, congratulations.
I mean, they got him for $1. Unbelievable.
You know, Mike.
That may be a better transaction than Manhattan Island for what was that? $12 or
$24.
whatever?
$24.
Yeah. See, I only had $1 exacto on the Manhattan Island deal, so I only got 12. Gurggles, always a pleasure, man. What do you have going on? You're going to be out there with a little Beat the Broadcaster? You're a busy man.
No,
at this
I got
time
a tournament tomorrow with the commercial real estate brokers who help sell all of Miami Lake's office buildings. I won't be on the theater. Sunday, I've got National Performance Warehouse. These are parts people from all over the country for their 32nd annual. I won't be there. But Monday, I will be at Grand Oaks for the Alex's Lemonade stand, that kid that started the cancer. I'll be doing a Beat the Broadcaster Monday. But I've got a very, very busy weekend. And maybe Saturday I can sneak in a couple of ponies and bet some turf at Tampa. But
okay.
You guys
you don't
have a great Degenerate Friday.
No Perdomo Horse of the Week or anything? Nothing?
No. I won't get there till Saturday, so I don't have the form that far in advance. But I will root for you guys on Degenerate Friday and listen in.
Okay, yeah, we're looking for a horse called KD Cadis to run again, a 2-year-old at Aqueduct. KD Cadis. Unless something happened to this horse. I don't have any of those sophisticated methods of tracking whether the horse is entered. I suppose I should, since, every now and then you see just an awful trip, and you're thinking that horse will win next time. Well, we did it before with Glen County, but we had to wait like 10 months for that one, remember? We had thrown in the towel, and all of a sudden I get a Facebook message from one of our fans. And he says, a guy named Ken, and he says, the horse is running, he's in. And boom, 1680, we lit up the board. So that was great.
Wow.
KD Cadis, Kedes.
Just less than a month ago, I was at Silks at Gulfstream, and Fernando said, hey, this exercise guy gave me this horse, and he usually doesn't give many out. And we bet him, and he ran second at, what was he, 18-1?
Yeah.
And they put him up and took down the winner. That's a good
That's always
day.
a sign that you're in a favorable light with the gods of gambling. No doubt about it, which I wasn't the last time I was there. I really got cracked. I mean, the last time I was at a racetrack, which was very unfortunate. And it had been a while, too, since I suffered one of those kind of days. Because, screen to screen, if you're not cashing tickets, you're, it rhymes with duck, which would be fucked. Yeah, exactly. All right, thanks, Gurggles. Always a pleasure, man. You have a good one. Dynamite job as always. Dave Gurggles Gergely. Thank you for all the people participating in the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Thank you to Hialeah Park for participating on the show here with us for so many years. They're just absolutely fantastic. Love the relationship there. And the people are all great. And that's part of the reason. They always talk about if you have the right kind of management and the people at the top, a big reflection of the organization. And that's the way you're going to feel. I mean, from top to bottom. customer service numero uno with the people at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, we're coming back with more here in a moment. And Lubie, you're in and out freezing up there a little bit there. Are you okay?
So it should be fine now. I don't know why I did a thing. I'm sorry. I don't know what was going on. But it should be good now.
All of a sudden, you were howling at the moon there. And we'll come back with more here on the Defo Show. Tomorrow, a full-blown Degenerate Friday. We're hoping, too, Mark Lawrence will join us because he always does a great job with the bowl preview package that he puts out there with playbooksports.com. The Greek, I spoke with the Greek last night, Lubie. He's looking forward. Says give him a call, and he will be happy to join us tomorrow. Of course, we'll have the professor with the professor's big board, the gambling gourmet Mike Mayo as well. And Mike Mayo will join us later on this morning, this afternoon, actually, with Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. A spectacular yesterday at the Hen and the Hog. How much did you enjoy that, Mike Lubie? That was absolutely fantastic. The Hen and the Hog yesterday for the Mike Mayo Lunchbox.
That was amazing. Like they did, the shrimp and grits was as good as shrimp and grits as I've ever had.
Yeah, I would have to say that was the top. I sampled that first. Although I will say this, and this is a good thing about a restaurant, when you have a very pleasant taste in your mouth like a half hour later, the way they smoked their meats there, they did a really good job with it. And it was kind of like a sweet, smoky taste that lingered on. And mark of a good place, right? When you're very happy to still be enjoying with the remnants of, just the taste of, something that you had like a half hour ago. And you didn't want to change anything, right? No mouthwash, no toothpaste, nothing. You just wanted to leave that taste in your mouth there. I don't know. I mean, as opposed to the usual bad taste that we have in our mouths from various things that we've tried to accomplish here in the business. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. I'm Jeff DeForest. That's Mike Lubitz on South Florida Live. Back in a moment with more. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:23. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't get your question.
You were a coach that you coached all kinds of teams. You had teams that...
Hey, say it in English. Is that yelling?
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Wow, that might be one of the worst, most lopsided trades in history, correct? Involving a basketball player. This guy boots straight up, 1-to-1. The other guy, the poor guy, is, swears he's innocent. I would imagine that's probably the case. not having any in-depth knowledge of it, but it certainly seems that way. That this guy was just snatched up by the Russians, accused of being a spy, sentenced to like 9-10 years in prison. He's already been in the slammer there 3 years. And he was sacrificing his deal. Who made this deal? Danny Ainge? What the hell is this?
Exactly.
Not to make light of it. I mean, it's a horrible situation. Look, I have nothing but empathy for the. Can you imagine? You're sitting in some, prison colony or whatever they call it, in Russia, and stark. I mean, just the most, bizarre of conditions, and you did really nothing. I mean, honestly, right? To have a vape pipe, stupid. Yeah, I mean, you could think all kinds of things, but it's certainly the consequences of that maneuver or far outweighed any kind of responsibility that this woman should have borne for it. But the fact that she was famous to get traded for this guy, while this other poor guy that also, I mean, his parents have been begging the government for 3 years now to do something about this. Nobody cared till Brittany Griner, who had some level of fame, was obviously justly thrown in the slammer there for what was potentially 10 years. And she's back, and this guy isn't. Wow, and for one of the most heinous criminals that the U.S. has ever incarcerated here, under these kind of international situations where we have a guy that Russia was very fond of because he was selling weapons to virtually everybody to try and kill people in the United States. Very good.
Look, on both accounts, it's a little interesting and crazy to me. First of all, Griner the whole thing's ridiculous. I get it. I understand. For any amount of weed, let alone a vape pen, I mean, and she'd been playing there for a long time, so this wasn't her first time. So it was targeted, and that sucks. I admit it. But it wasn't we talk about unfair trades, like the Smoltz trade for whatever the hell. Sorry, and I don't want her just languishing there. This dude is evil. This dude is bad, and there's only one reason Russia wants him back. The minute he's out, he's going to start dealing arms again, and he doesn't have any. Not only he doesn't carry deals with, he targets terrorists, Russia, North Korea. He targets the people that are America's enemies. So this guy is bad news, and this is really bad trade. On top of it, the one guy that's been there for years, was like a journalist and didn't really do anything wrong, still being there is a joke. That's my whole thing about this is Griner is sort of her own volition. It's look, you should know the times. You should know what's going on in the world. You got to be buttoned up. You got to be on the up and up. It might have worked the last 4 years, but right now you don't mess around. This guy didn't do any of that.
Nothing.
This guy doesn't deserve any. There's no blame on him.
And he's already been, incarcerated there for 3 years. Penal colony, they call it, right?
Yeah, that's not good.
Is that it? I mean, that sounds barbaric, does it not? Holy Gulag Archipelago, my God.
Exactly. It sounds like a gulag. That's what it sounds like.
Wow. All right. But anyway, that's in the news. And obviously it's odd that it doesn't seem like a cause for celebration, even though obviously anybody that had even the slightest bit of rationale would deduce that Brittany Griner deserved nothing of the level and the magnitude. She's already paid more of a price than you would ever consider as consequences for whatever violation of the law. It wasn't like she was bringing in 80 tons of cocaine.
No, obviously
in a suitcase. So I mean, this seemed relatively harmless. Obviously, it was meant just for herself. And any intelligent governing body would probably deduce that, hey, why don't we just fine her $1,000 and let her go, right? Plus, on top of that, she obviously had some kind of measure of popularity in Russia from playing basketball there. I would think that the only reason for her to be there was because she was a big American star, and she was, like a lot of people, have prospered going to play for European teams, especially from the WNBA, where that was how they were subsidizing their living, and their ability to play in the WNBA was by being on these European teams. And Griner had been there for many, many years. I don't know how she could be, I mean, obviously we see athletes do many stupid things. And you're wondering, why wouldn't the guy just get a limousine instead of crashing into three people, at 150 miles an hour when, you're filthy fucking rich? Why would you do this? Why would you put yourself? I mean, even right? You do it. I'm sure almost everybody does now with Uber availability. you're thinking, hey, I'm going out drinking. I'm not driving.
Honestly.
I mean, it's become, that much more simple. You don't have to hail a cab. You can go on your phone, and 2 minutes later, some guy's going to pick you up.
Yep.
Why would you do that? I mean, even a common person is doing something like that. So if you're, it never ceased to amaze me how stupid people could be when you had every means possible to avoid getting yourself into this kind of jackpot, and they go ahead and do it anyway, right? But she had to be, as you said, Libby, well aware of the fact that this was not a good move. Now, she said she didn't even realize the thing was in there. And whether that's true or not, it doesn't really matter. The consequences that were laid upon her, and the seriousness and the gravity of what happened to her since, completely unjustified. Anywhere in the world, I don't care where you go, right? Iraq, Iran, wherever you end up, it should never happen. But wow, I mean, that's some serious business, and it strikes me, really strange because here is a famous person with some measure of recognition worldwide, actually, and I mean, if that's not the most favorable treatment you've ever seen, that's pretty incredible. And this other poor guy, I mean, his parents are mashugana as they should be. That the government is just completely ignored their pleas and excluded him from this particular situation. You have to be kidding me. And then that's boot guy. I mean, I don't know who else we have that the Russians would desire back in this kind of a swap. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the roster. But to put Boot in the transfer portal.
Exactly.
This reeks of Danny Ainge. It does.
No, it reeks of Vadi Divans.
I don't know. I mean, it's a horrible situation. Let's face
really
it. There's no great position to have on it. I don't think. I mean, what? Do you leave this woman to rot there when you have a chance to save her ass? Of course. You want to do everything you can to correct what is just an atrocious, consequential imposition on Brittany Griner. But if she wasn't Brittany Griner, would anybody give a flying one? Obviously, they don't care about this other guy. So
that's what
they were able. Yeah, pretty crazy, man.
Like, it's not. I mean, I understand life's not fair, but geez, like, this dude's just languishing there.
It looks bad. I think it looks bad. I really do. As good as it is to hear news that maybe some measure of justice was finally, going to come for Brittany Griner, that she was going to get out of there. At what price and at what, a sacrifice of, the integrity of the government when it came to any other person that was in this same dire strait that Brittany Griner found herself in, which, as you said, this was something that she could have avoided very easily. Whereas this other guy just got snatched up and accused of being a spy, and the next thing you know, he is a spy, right? At least according to the Russians.
I love Andy's like Trump just announced Bout as his running mate.
Yeah.
He gets me.
Well, makes some sense, yeah. Well, he said he figured he would be friendly with Putin. In fact, every, ruling despot that, is out to somehow find a way to eliminate the human race.
Yeah, exactly.
Trump, he lined himself up with Kim Jong-un. He had the love letter from Kim Jong-un. The guy gets me. You're right. Andy, you're right on top of your game here. For sure. All right, a lot of stuff coming up here in the world of sport. And we tomorrow, of course, we'll dive into this NFL schedule. The college is on the back burner here, at least for another week, because the bowl season doesn't get underway until December 16th. Yeah, when the Bahamas Bowl, which I'll get a little preview of. Maybe I can, I don't know if the teams get down there that early. I don't think so. UAB laying 10 against Miami of Ohio.
Oh, jeez.
What do you think?
If we're trying to use the Hawaii strategy, there's neither team.
Bahamas Bowl. Yeah.
No,
Alabama, Birmingham. I don't
UAB
imagine.
Sucks. And right now, that it can't be a fun place this time of the year. And Miami of Ohio can't be.
I'm not whipping out the sunscreen at Miami of Ohio anytime.
That might be a horrendous
period.
It might be like 6-3.
Over under total is 44 in that game. So obviously they're anticipating some scoring at a reasonable level here. Although that's not very high for a college football game these days, right? 44.
They realize both schools are going to party their asses off.
Yeah. For example, BYU and SMU is 71 and a hook.
Exactly.
Most of these totals, there's some small totals here. UConn, which not exactly blessed with offensive firepower. They're playing Marshall and getting 10 points. Jim Mora Jr. at UConn. Turned him around, huh? How about that? Does he get Coach of the Year consideration? Jim Mora Jr., this team couldn't win a game if, it was fixed. Unbelievable. 40 is the over-under total there. I don't think there's anything lower than that. Oh, yes, there is. Wow. They're expecting nothing in this game. 32 is the lowest total of all of the ball games, over-under total. 32. What game do you think that comes in? I'll give you a hint here. It's going to be played on New Year's Eve. Music City Bowl. So what are we talking? Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And Kentucky and Iowa. Iowa's defense, is that good? That the 32 total would seem like one that was, right there on the border of which way do you go?
Well, the quarterback was announced for Kentucky. He's going to the pros. So you would think that means he's not playing in the bowl. So
okay.
That no one's ever heard of. And
so all logic dictates that this game is going to go under and be a very low-scoring affair.
I mean, 32 is stupid.
32.
21, you could do 21.
14-10 doesn't get it done for you. 14-10 leaves you well under the total there. 16 all gets you to 32.
I mean, I would go over.
So you have to hope for overtime at 16-16, no? Then you're okay? You're guaranteed to be a lock winner?
You could have a suck-ass game and still be 21-17. Like.
All right. Tony was all infatuated, Tony Segredo, yesterday with a lot of the ball games. How many will actually be of interest to you outside of the fact that I'll be booking some action on these ball games?
Probably most.
And, that'll at least get me a casual viewing interest if I happen to be in front of a TV set to see if I'm, where I stand at the time. UAB, Miami of Ohio, little interest or none to me.
No.
Also on that same day, they start with the Cure Bowl and the Bahamas Bowl. Troy and University of Texas San Antonio, which is only of interest to me because of the fact that I was able to cover a spread earlier this year with FIU. And they were getting like 37 points or something against University of Texas San Antonio, which is that not an online school? I mean, what's the story on that?
It's a
Do
real
they have a campus? I know Larry Coker was their original head coach. Larry Coker. And he did well there, I think. I mean, this was no situation where you had further proof that he was never cut out to be the University of Miami head football coach, which turned out to be the case, right? I mean, he should have never been the coach, but he managed to win like his first 23 games.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He was like,
he was 23-1 and almost won back-to-back national championships, and we consider the guy to be a chump as a coach.
And he was
pretty amazing, right? Is that Barry Switzer II with the Dallas Cowboys? Larry Coker.
Yes.
I like Coker, though. He was a really good guy. Very nice man to deal with. Many, many dealings with Larry Coker over the years. And I like the people today that are dedicated to this whole thing going with Mario Cristobal. I wanted to believe that he really knew what he was doing. What happened? He just couldn't get players to come there?
What I found interesting is, and I get it, look, Norvell did this when he came in. Coaches used to do this. They revamped the roster. But they've just had now, I think, their 15th player transfer. Like, don't you have to have
everybody's gone? Wow.
On the roster?
That's crazy, huh? It'll be interesting to see. I mean, that's cliche as it gets, but I don't know. I didn't see anything overwhelmingly favorable this year to make me think that next year is going to be that much better. You would have to think, as a program of that magnitude at that level, that it should not get any worse. But if it does, then you really have to question what happened with that $80 million that they just unloaded on Mario Cristobal, and those questions popping up. I mean, it's not like Matthew Lesko, as we referenced earlier, wearing a question mark jacket to the Hecht Athletic Center and saying,
he's still alive, by the way. I looked up Lesko.
Lesko, yeah.
Talking about him as a current, he's a guy that advises people with their money. I'm like,
he was a classic, man. He really was. He had this book. It looked like a cartoon, illustration in a comic book, and that's what he was selling, for like $9.99. And you could learn how to get money from the government for anything. I guess he was ahead of his time, because had it been COVID-19, right? There was a time there where, like the Los Angeles Lakers are applying for a hardship loan of $4 million and getting it. The Lakers are struggling to make their payroll. They're paying LeBron $60 million to play half the season. Incredible. Anthony Davis, does he ever get a full year in? No, the poor guy is fragile. Although he's playing great basketball right now.
Really well now.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of basketball, too, Jim Sarney was right about this. We haven't mentioned our good friend Jim Larinaga and the University of Miami team, and
Really
they're off to a rock and roll start here. And played a wild game last night against Colgate, which was always a patsy on the schedule of the Syracuse Orange. And back then, when they were the Orange Men, it was a favorable night whenever you were playing Cornell or Colgate, either of those two schools there from sort of the middle part of what would be upstate New York. Not quite as upstate as Syracuse is, because that is upstate, my friend. That's where you get smacked in the face with an Arctic wind, the likes of which that you've never experienced in your lifetime. Eskimos were scared, to go up on campus there in the middle of winter at Syracuse University. But that was always a cupcake game. So I don't know. Did they get better? 107-105. Was that really the final last night in the UM basketball game against Colgate? I think Jim Sarney was telling me. I didn't get to see any of it. But we are definitely remiss in not having.
They won by 2.
Yeah, they were up like 100 points.
They were killing them.
Yeah,
I didn't realize they won like that.
Is Joe Zagacki still alive? The radio play-by-play voice of the Hurricanes.
Now.
My God, talk about a thrill in Manila. But what are the chances, Lubie? We're going to have to get Jim Larinaga on the show. I really feel badly about this. We are really front-running phonies when it comes to Larinaga, are we not? We only call like when he's in the Sweet 16. And then, I think he's a big fan of coming on our show. I really believe that. That, he likes the old school stuff that we bring up. I mean, who else is bringing up Butch Comice to Jim Larinaga? Nobody.
I can say unequivocally no one.
No one, yeah. Eddie Malloy, the high school basketball star that was the arch rival of Jim Larinaga. We did not know that. And it just turned out that I happened to be in some basketball games that also on the court, although wiping the floor with the team that I was on, was the great Eddie Malloy, who was teamed up, as I've said many times, with Dick McGuire, former coach of the New York Knicks, and Julius Erving, right? Imagine being out there with a young Dr. J.
That's funny. When he was good, you don't rave about him like he wasn't like.
He was a star. Think about it. How did he end up at UMass if he was, as heralded as he was eventually going to become? Everybody had. It was one of those guys that when he walked on the court, there was a certain amount of reverence, especially at that level. And think about it. This Eddie Malloy was no slouch, as evidenced by Jim Larinaga's total recall of all of his moves. And, you had no chance. There were like 40 guys, literally, Louis, under this one basket waiting to play and run next. And Dr. J's team would stay out there all night long. But Dr. J didn't do all of that flamboyant stuff. You would never have seen this transformation coming, as good as he was. But I think he was like, 6'6", maybe. And nobody was, that big back then. I mean, 6'6" was like huge. And he just would stand under the basket and dunk. And what was that going to happen? Some little Jewish kid at 5'11" who's going to block his shot? No. So Malloy, who was one of the great clever passers of all time, just a dynamite passer. This guy was like Steve Nash before Nash. And, he's feeding the doctor into the basket, and the guy's got an elbow in your nose, and, he's just slamming the ball on you. And guess what? You're losing 11-2. Dick McGuire, the former Knicks coach, though, I will never forget this, was the dirtiest fucking basketball player in a half-court game. I mean, the kind of guy that would get slugged if he wasn't Dick McGuire. Right? I mean, if you didn't have this, he was another guy that had, a real element of reverence because what is this guy doing in our games at the park? But it was one of those places where everybody came from all over the place. And it was kind of like, I don't know if it was Long Island's version of Rucker Park because it was half-court action only. 3-on-3, and I don't know if we ever, got involved in 4-on-4. It was mostly 3-on-3. So you were waiting a long time if you were like the 11th team in line there to play.
Oh, jeez.
And you knew you were getting eliminated as soon as you stepped on the court, and it really was true. There would be the guy with the, disabled kid at the other basket, and you would take your team and then challenge him. One guy would quit, Okay, I ain't waiting for the next round. But it was kind of fun. I mean, there's no doubt about it, right? A young Dr. J. You could have never anticipated, though, that kind of, act that he developed later on, this high wire act that he became. I don't know that you could have seen that from the way he played basketball back then. But definitely a lot of fun. All right. What do you think, though? We get Larinaga on? I mean, is that going to happen?
I just reached out, and we're trying to have him on next week. I mean, we love having Larinaga on. He's great.
Yeah. No, he's tremendous. And, college basketball is good early in the season because the good teams play each other.
Yes.
It's okay to get tagged with a couple of losses. A few just casual observations. I see Duke's already lost a couple of games. I still find myself rooting against them no matter what. This Polish kid that the professor was talking about. I'm not sure that. How does he have no pro potential? That's what the professor was implying, that he would never make it as a pro. That no pro team would ever be interested in him because he's going to end up playing 5 years at Duke. But what's his name? Filipowski or something like that?
Filipowski. He's actually playing really well.
Yeah.
I think he's undersized. I think that's what it is. I think he's like.
Oh, okay. Because I saw that he was like the number 6 overall recruit coming in this year. That Duke had like the top of the 3 guys they had coming in. One was number 1 overall. The other guy was number 2, and this Filipowski was like number 6. So obviously he was held in high regard.
Yes.
Coming from high school.
Ken just hates him because he's Polish last name and plays for Duke, and he flops a lot, and he fouls, and he's dirty, and he's all the Duke. He's very Dukey, but he's really good, and he's going to be a pro, and he may be a pro this year. Like
Syracuse stinks, by the way. This is the worst team Jimmy Boeheim's ever coached, I think, in his career. They are horrible.
Literally lost 2 teams I didn't know had school. He's lost to like 5 teams I didn't know had basketball teams. So you're talking to the wrong guy. I can't say anything about that.
He was always, kind of questioned, I would say, challenged for the cupcake schedule that he played out of conference when they were in the Big East. And now in the ACC, that pre-conference schedule is not exactly one that you would say is loaded with teams that would be particularly challenging. And, he's losing to schools that were named after like salad dressing, right? Like balsamic vinaigrette. Like they have a basketball team. What is that? A culinary school? What the fuck? And they're losing by like 30 points. Substantial.
Balsamic. Like what the hell's a balsamic?
I don't even know. I mean, there's schools I don't even know where colleges, right? And they're on the Syracuse schedule. Incredible. But they're bad, man. I mean, and Louisville is
Louisville's rough.
How did that happen? Wow.
I don't know.
They're absolutely horrendous. So,
yeah.
So UM off to a good start. That's good.
And we're gonna have Larinaga next week. I'm gonna confirm with the guy. I just talked to him now. I'm gonna confirm with him this weekend. So we're gonna have Larinaga on next week. He's trying to do video. It'd be fun to have him on video.
I hope he does it. Yeah, that'd be great because and one of our favorite interviews, Jim Larinaga. He makes you love college basketball. And I remember there were reporters locally here, and we forgive people for making dumb mistakes. But people on the air screaming that when they hired Larinaga when he was 61 years old, that this was a huge mistake by the program to hire this guy because they needed new young blood. Who was the guy? Frank Haith was there, and he left in disgrace. Which they had a series of coaches there.
Perry Clark, Haith.
I mean, after Leonard there, it got a little shaky. I do believe that Leonard is a man of high integrity, although FSU basketball is suffering this year also, are they not, Lubie? Aren't they losing to a bunch of schmenk teams?
That's what I was saying. I wasn't talking about your cues. When I jumped in, I said I can't talk. Florida State's lost to like 4 schools that I did not know had basketball. Like,
okay.
They had like Troy, I've heard of as a shitty football school. I didn't know they had a basketball team. Like they lost to like
why are they so bad this year around Florida State?
That one Spanish kid that was supposed to be a freshman was supposed to be a centerpiece, the Baba Miller or whatever his name is. And that screwed them, but they still shouldn't be this bad. No, I mean, I don't know. I run to blame Hamilton. People make fun of me, but they're like 1-9, and they've had a cake schedule. Their schedule has been a joke.
Well, I mean, so who's good? I mean, in the ACC, is it going to be a Duke again?
Virginia actually scores now. Virginia can score. So Virginia, And Carolina was good, and then they lost a few in a row. And Duke will come back around. Duke's loaded. It's just they're young, so eventually they'll be really good.
It sounds odd to call a college basketball team young at any time, right? I mean, I understand if you're playing like 5 freshmen, but
they are.
You know, look at Michigan that one year with the Fab Five, because guys don't stay if they're any good. I mean, they're lucky to get 2 years out of a player. Usually, I mean, these top recruits are going to be one and doneers. No, I know Coach K frowned upon that practice until he realized that he couldn't win without it. And to his credit, he reversed his opinion on that and decided all of a sudden, you know what? What's so bad about this?
One is Shire's first year, so without K, Shire with a bunch of McDonald's All-Americans, and that's great, but it does take time for them to gel. And I think that's what you're going to see.
Jim Sarney puts one on the calendar here. Virginia at University of Miami.
Nice.
December 20th. You notice, too, that Sarney's having a Svengali effect on this show now also? Like very heavily so. Because when he mentioned that we have ignored UM basketball, he was absolutely right. And we have no reason to ignore it because even if they were terrible, we would still want to talk to Jim Larinaga because he's fascinating.
Yes.
So, you know, and when he starts getting, I think he loves transitioning into the old school stuff. Now you can tell a coach, you know, especially in this town where does anybody even know college basketball exists in this town? For the most part, no. All right. I mean, I know we have our fans and all of that, but you know, look, I'm the first to admit I'll probably, you know, start getting into it around a time where you see some of these conference tournaments.
Yeah, February.
And while I watch some games, you know, it's crazy. I mean, almost I can hear the voice of one of my ex-wives in my head every time I turn on a college basketball game, and you know, there'd be like 11 games on. You'd be watching them all. One after another, and she would say, "You're still watching that same game?" It's like, no, there's been like 10 games. No, it's the same game.
Shirley says that to me all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're very different. It's like, what's different about it? I'm like, leave me alone.
Get out of my face, man. Get out of my space. Don't mean to be rude, but and blunt, but that's the way it is. No, it's not the same game. Women don't understand that, do they? I mean, some women obviously are good sports fans, but they assume that the game they were watching at 10 o'clock in the morning is the same when you're watching at 10 o'clock at night. And I could see where at times it looks that way. No? Especially early season college basketball. It's just one after another. Here we go. Right? And it does, you know, have a certain sameness to it. But anyway, that's one to look forward to. Good. I'm glad we'll get Jim Larinaga on the show. We'll have a Degenerate Friday coming up tomorrow, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And I think we're going to feature the full complement of characters.
That's the hope.
Including the Greek. You have to get a hold of the Greek and remind him to do this tomorrow.
I'll reach out to him.
He's more than happy to come on. Mark Lawrence, I'd love to confirm that we had Mark Lawrence on the show. Did he tell you last week that?
It's funny. I had forgotten to tell the people because I talked to so many people that we weren't on. And Lawrence reached out to me and told me he still was off.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully he'd be back this week. So
I'll
double check with him today.
And the professor will have a big board and no doubt some college plays, bowl games, and maybe even some college basketball. And the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, coming off another successful remote edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox yesterday at the Hen and the Hog. Now, there's one much closer to me. I didn't quite understand the arrangement, though. Did the people at the one we were at in Boca sort of, you know, go on their own and weren't a part of the Pompano one anymore? Or are they one and the same? They share the same name.
It's the owners own both. It's chef. The in for us was the chef and the GM.
Okay.
Chef Daryl, who's
both very lovely people, by the way. Very nice.
Is Mike's friend. Mike's known them for years.
Yeah.
And they're only at that one. But both are the same owners own both, and your patronage would be.
Owner seemed like a real nice, intelligent, down-to-earth guy, didn't he?
George was great, and the co-owner was great too. I'm trying to remember her name.
Very nice, yeah. No, good people.
She was great too. They were really cool, and they treated us really well. And the food was.
I feel a little guilty, but we couldn't get up once we started the show, and I'm asking the owner to go bring me a mimosa.
I know, isn't that funny?
The arrogance. The snobbish nature of the people on the cast of that show. Unbelievable. But Mayo did a good job again. He ordered like 15 lunches, and we ate them all. Terrific place, though. Head in the hot. All right. Anyway, we're coming off that, and I would imagine could he dive any more deeply into this, bottled spaghetti sauce thing?
Oh no, he's gonna do
Jarred
a whole
spaghetti
thing.
sauce.
We're gonna do a whole end of the year extravaganza at the pizza spot, I guess.
That is crazy, huh? I love the way he embraced this idea. He must have run out of ideas on his own because he never, right? If we suggest something, usually doesn't Mayo reject it. Like, why would you talk about ketchup on the show? Or various kinds. Although, and we don't agree on everything when it comes. I think Duke's mayonnaise, and they have their own ball game. You don't see the Hellman's mayonnaise ball game, do you? So their tie-in with sports, I think, proves that they're a superior brand now, even to all traditional ones like Hellman's, which you would think there was no way to knock these guys off their perch, right? I don't know that I could tell the difference, Hellman's mayonnaise or Duke. What do you think?
Feels like Southern and like heart attack to me. It's all mayonnaise, it's all fat, but for some reason Duke's just feels even more like
it's a different color. Yeah, it's a yellowish tinge to it also. I don't know if that's the bottle it comes in or just my perception of it. But I've been using it for a while because I actually thought that Leslie Visser's, of course, husband, the Duke, was an owner of the thing. And I asked him after the fact. I said, "Hey, I just bought some of your mayonnaise." He said, "What mayonnaise?" You don't own this shit? I mean, what are you talking about? All right, we got to run. Brandon Lang, hopefully going to join us on our podcast today, Believe Podcast Network. And for Mike Lubie, Lubitum, Jeff DeForest, thanks to Dave Gurggles, Gergely, all the participants there on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Thanks for joining us. Tomorrow, a full-blown Degenerate Friday with all of our usual suspects. And we'll see you tomorrow at 7. And then later on today with Mike Mayo's Lunchbox at high noon as we leave you now that.
The time.
8:57.
Let's go to eat a damn snack. Look what they done to my soul.